the network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
Ready.
AVWeek.
Performing. Scan.
Week.
Online.
This is AVWeek. AVWeek.
Is AV Week, your weekly wrap-up of audiovisual news and information. My name is Tim Albright. I am your host. With us this week, my buddy pal, and used to be tech manager. His name is Greg Brown. He now works for a company called Cibatech. How are you, sir?
Hello, Tim, and actually it's Cibatech.
Cibatech. Cibatech.
Yes, Cibatech. We're mispronouncing the company 10 seconds into the show.
I'm mispronouncing it. You, the nice employee, are doing
off to a hell of a start, aren't we? Oh, and now here come the sirens.
Oh, shoot. Sorry.
That's actually probably from Kelly Perkins. Kelly Perkins
yeah.
EVI Systems. She is joining us from a
Sorry, hopefully there's not a fire.
That's all right. She's joining us from a remote location in beautiful Minneapolis. How are you, ma'am?
I am wonderful. Hello, everyone, and thank you for having me on the show today. We just did a tour of US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. We're going to have an event there later this winter, and so now I'm sitting at a table outside of a restaurant, live streaming to all of you. So that's why the sirens are happening. I apologize.
And just for clarification, US Bank Stadium is where the
Yes.
Good luck with that. So.
And contrary to popular opinion, U-Haul is not our newest sponsor of the show.
Yeah, Kelly's sitting in front of a U-Haul.
No, I think somebody's moving into the building behind me.
Well, good for them.
Apologies.
Yeah.
It's some poor AV integrator that doesn't have a truck.
Right.
All right. Let's move on. Couple things. First and foremost, let's bring the stories in because see if I can do this correctly. Here we go. The computer's not working well today. Faster Wi-Fi powers UHD and 4K. This comes to us from our friends over at Innovate on the Net. The Wi-Fi Alliance has expanded their Wi-Fi certification their Wi-Fi certified AC certification program to lead the way for faster internet speeds and handling of UHD and 4K video. Quote unquote, based on IEEE 802.11ac, Wave 2 Wi-Fi is capable of delivering up to multi-gigabit per second data rates. So, here's the thing with this. As somebody who's been in the industry for 6 months or a year, 2 or 3 years, wireless video, Wi-Fi video, has never been all that reliable. Now, this is also talking about streaming 4K and streaming UHD. With doing this, basically what they're talking about is they're adjusting the IEEE, the 802.11, which is, if you don't know that, it's part of the Wi-Fi Alliance, and it's what kind of makes your Wi-Fi work. In any router, as long as your router is 802.11 compliant or Wi-Fi Alliance compliant. They're talking about doing this so you can take a Roku and stream Netflix 4K or Amazon Prime 4K or UHD. Greg, the first thing that came to my mind, though, is, as somebody who's been in the industry in all seriousness for a long time, I don't know that I trust. Yeah, 2-3 months. I don't know that I trust 4K video over wireless. Do you?
Trust it, hell. As long as we can sell it, that's all that matters,
okay.
Right? No, it'll be interesting to see what they've actually come up with. I think it's something where the higher resolutions and wireless, it's just a matter of time. We'll have it, and people will want it. Undoubtedly, as I'm discovering here out in the real world, people will want it before it's a viable technology. You know, we kind of talked a bunch of people through or out of doing wireless presentation in a recent project because, you know, they wanted to do videos and stuff like that. It's like, we would need to sit down and, you know, have you experience this before, you know, you do this. What they were hoping to do. Although, yeah, there are some boxes that are beginning to get the hang of it. I think it's only a matter of time, and yeah, we'll see it, and people will want it. It's just some people are going to want it before they really should want it.
Before it's ready, yeah. Kelly,
Yeah.
Netflix has for a while now has touted their 4K streaming, and it's not on every product, it's not on every show. But they've touted it for a while, and I believe, I could be wrong on this, I believe that they were the first streaming service to do so. This kind of helps them a little bit, but when it comes to other providers or other technologies, like Rick said, is this something where us as integrators need to get ahead of the curve for our clients and make sure that we know what they're going to ask and what they're talking about, so we can, you know, as sales engineers, or, you know, as you guys are doing different marketing pushes, you guys understand exactly what they're asking.
Yeah, I think, you know, I get in trouble for this a lot because we push out a lot of content, you know, to our end users and customers that makes everything sound so easy. You know, of course it works. Of course it does that. And then I get my engineers coming back to me and going, "Why are you sending this out? This is so much harder than it, you know, you're making it sound." And I'm like, yeah, but is it doable, guys? Well, yeah. You know, if we do this, and it's like, okay, so let's make it work. You know, and I think to Greg's point, it's, you know, it goes back to that whole consumer side of stuff where, you know, if people can do it at home and people are doing it in their own, you know, personal lives, why can't we do it at work? Why can't we have it in, you know, in our offices, in our buildings, etc.? I mean, it's going to happen regardless. So yes, of course we should prepare ourselves.
Kelly sounds like a lot of our clients, and it's really annoying.
Are you saying Kelly's annoying, or
Oh, your clients are annoying.
or your clients are annoying?
Well, the whole idea is, you know, that you know, hey, let's do it, let's make it work. That's it makes for some long days sometimes.
Yeah, but I'm also in marketing, so, you know.
Yeah. Marketing, sales, it's that same sort of, you know, feet firmly planted in midair idea.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on from that aspect. I caught on to this article. It's by a young man by the name of Alan Braun. I interviewed Alan last year, Infocom.
Alan is a good guy.
Alan's a good guy, yeah. He's actually in Greg's neck of the woods in Southern California. Alan writes for AV Network, our friends over at New Bay, and goes on and talks about, you know, Alan's been in the business for 35 years. Talks about, you know, walking the show floor and talking about displays. And here's the thing, I'm not going to read the entire article, but the one thing that caught on to me is the title of it, and it's called In Search of the Perfect Display. And I'm going to tap both of you here, because both of you went to Infocom this year. Greg, it was your first year as a non-technology manager, so you've got, you know, you have that aspect going.
Yes, it was.
Kelly, first for you, what, from your estimation, both as a marketing person, both as somebody that works in integration, that has to, you know, help your clients understand what they want, need, and desire, but also as somebody who consumes this stuff, right? I mean, you've got, you know, a display at home. You guys use it a lot. You use different displays and BTC, and we'll get to that in the next story, at AVI Systems because of your various offices. If you're sitting down, you're going, you know what, we're going to build, let's say you guys are building a new office space, and you get to pick the display that you get to interact with. What's your perfect display? Mm-hmm. What's it look like? What's it feel like?
I want a giant one. I want a floor-to-ceiling display that I can walk up to and I can start showing my entire team or people that are walking in the building all of the cool stuff it can do. For example, I can walk up to it. I know, this is terrible. Shush, Greg.
I feel sorry for your engineers. I feel so sorry for your engineers.
Well, Why not? He's asking what my perfect display would be, okay? Perfect. Yeah. Not necessarily in a real world and what I can actually afford, okay? So
Your marketing, I already know real world has nothing to do with this.
So then I can walk up to it and I can log in with my phone. I can bring up my entire desktop. I can bring up anything I want, whether it's a browser, et cetera, and I can make things bigger. I can make things smaller. I can decide, do I want to start writing and taking notes? I can do that on this display as well. And it's not just a display. It's like an actual wall. So it's like right outside of my office, right where I can have a little meeting area with my team, again, or anybody else that's there. I think that would be the coolest thing ever.
You forgot the part about being able to roll it up and put it in your purse when you're done and go home with it.
That's my display. That's the OLED. But I haven't chimed in.
How cool would that be?
Yes.
Mine can be permanent. I'm cool with that.
All right.
I don't need to roll it up like a yoga mat and throw it in my bag.
What is your perfect
I can leave
display?
that part at the office.
Yeah.
What is my perfect display?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I might be a little bit more cynical about this. That's a news flash.
Yeah.
This is why we work. This is why we work, Greg.
Well, actually, now speaking from somebody who's part of an integration company, the best display is the one that we get the biggest markup on.
Oh, jeez.
Which is
Greg,
apparently you were engineering, not
turned
sales.
into an entirely different person.
Oh, no. I think, gosh, the perfect display. I think it's very subjective, and I think the problem is most people, there's a reason we don't do a projector shootout at the show anymore,
Okay.
and I think if we did a monitor shootout, I think most of these people would realize that they can't tell the difference between half of these things anyway. So there are lots of monitors out there, and most of them really are not bad at all. Although I was looking like I was going to have to spec a Vizio in a project the other day, and I said, guys, I'm not specking a Vizio, and they're like, we don't want you to spec a Vizio either. So friends don't let friends spec Vizio monitors.
I'm on Vizio, right? I'm not the world's biggest fan of Vizio, not an underwriter, but understand where I'm coming from here.
Did we just check off another company that's not going to be an underwriter?
They're fine. They have got the biggest, least expensive 110-inch display. I saw it last year at CEDIA. Very impressive. And yeah, they probably came in and undercut a lot of folks and ticked off a lot of integrators, right? 10, 15 years ago when they first came into the market. But it's not a bad display. And freaking, you need a 110-inch display? Dude, it's a lot lighter than the Panasonic was from was it 3 or 4 years ago?
Oh yeah. Even the Samsungs, which are, not often the greatest monitor out there, but damn, it's hard to beat the price, and they're generally light, and they look good, and they're thin, and I think we're doing an exceptional job of dancing around the size matters joke, which will go in somewhere around here. It's
well, and here's the thing. Size absolutely matters, especially if you're talking about replacing projector screen combinations, right? Which a lot of times is what's happening.
Right.
Now,
right.
Greg is a former tech manager. I'm a former tech manager. I was doing 120-inch screens. I'm not replacing a display with that, right? Not at this point in time. For economic reasons, for installation reasons, for all sorts of other reasons. But you start talking about 60, 70, 80-inch displays and projector monitors, projector screen combinations. Yeah, absolutely. You can replace those sizes all day long, especially on the 70-inch and below. Currently, it's going to be less expensive than doing, by and large, less expensive than doing a projector screen combination. You start getting into the 80 and 90-inch, Depending on what projector you're going with, right? The 90 inch is running somewhere in the neighborhood of $10,000-$12,000. You can get an 80 inch for about $8,500 typically. Go ahead, Rick.
And I think what I want is like $100,000.
Oh, then shoot. Yeah. You have
Maybe.
a budget.
Feel so sorry for your engineers. but you know, they're in higher ed. It's a completely different world. When we were thinking about that, we were also in many cases not putting in monitors because we needed to move the darn thing out of the way because we had a whiteboard or God forbid a chalkboard.
No, we didn't.
You know that. In a lot of higher ed locations, you do though.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, because you put the screen in front of the board.
Depending on your market, you're going to have a whole bunch of different things. People don't think about the chalkboards or the whiteboards in higher ed when they're mounting these monitors all over the place half the time, or they think they're going to mount these monitors all over the place. The other thing you have is the kids coming in and messing with everything aspect that we had in higher ed.
Yeah, that's true. Let me give you my takeaway from Alan's article plus my own 2 cents, right? The best display is the one that you have. Let's start there, right? Because if you don't have a display, well, then obviously you can't do anything with it. But if we're talking about what do I want as somebody who used to design, program, do stuff like that, I'm a little bit on Kelly's side when it comes to this because I want it to be interactive. Beyond the fact that I'm a huge proponent of OLED, and I still think that it has a place in the market. I think that eventually the technology will get there, and they will figure out a way to get us 60, 70, 80-inch OLEDs.
Oh, absolutely.
AMOLED, there's a whole other aspect of that, and that's when I was, somewhat joking about rolling it up in your pocket. But that's the aspect, and that is actually where I see it going. This is a few years down the road, but it's a flexible enough display where it could replace. Here's the thing: the display and the screen all at the same time, and still roll up like a projector screen, right?
I've wondered if we would see that that interim animal.
Well, here's the thing.
On a box that rolls down in classrooms.
Well, yeah, because it totally can. I mean, there are YouTube videos out there right now. I think Samsung is the most popular one right now. They've got like 5 or 10 million views on this. But they're taking it's a cell phone. Understand, it's a cell phone, but it's a cell phone screen. It's AMOLED, and they're bending, and the bend radius is no smaller than the bend radius of a projector screen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm just wondering whether the market is going to be big enough for us to see that, monitor in a projector-like case hung on the wall so it can come down in front of whiteboards.
Yep.
Or, although some people, UCLA, will probably still have chalkboards at that point anyway still.
You know what? I used to do a lot of work at WashU. There's something to be said about an old school chalkboard in a big lecture hall. It's nostalgic, Greg.
Oh, talking to many of our professors, the word nostalgic would come up.
Come on, you've got this giant oak-filled, oak-lined room. You don't want a whiteboard in there. You want that to be chalk. And like Kelly said, it's easy to write on. So, all right. Last story here.
That gets your fingers all dirty.
What's that, chalk or the markers?
Chalk.
Yeah. Okay. So, AVI Systems, with Kelly's employer, has launched a Battle of the Bands. This story was picked up by Commercial Integrator, which I found fascinating. We'll put a link to the story on here. You can go. You can vote for the people of the Battle of the Bands. But that's not.
It ends today, so.
Oh well, never mind then. If you're watching live.
It ends at end of day today, so.
Oh, good lord. All right. Well, if you're watching live, you can go vote on it. So, but here's what I want to pick up on this. Is a quote by Ms. Perkins. Sometimes our offices feel like they're on their own little island, says Perkins. We've acquired a lot of these offices through acquisition, so they had some of their own culture. With the One AVI program, that's a way to bring everyone into the same culture and move together as one group. Now, Kelly, real quickly, I want you to explain AVI, the One AVI program. But part of that is incorporating a lot of VTC and connecting your offices together.
Yes, it's been a little bit of a beast, but it's been awesome. So, kind of like how I had mentioned, you know, in that quote, it's hard because we have 15 offices, and a lot of them have been acquisitions, and they have their own culture, and it's really hard to create kind of a consistent culture amongst the whole company and all of these offices. And I'm not saying I want to, you know, get rid of their uniqueness and, you know, their geographical and demographical, et cetera, because they all have really cool and unique characteristics. I'm just saying to get everyone on the same page and understand what other offices are going through and what other job roles are involved in the process. So we did an office tour earlier in the year, and we asked everyone in each office, you know, what could we as a company, what could we as individuals, what could we do better, and what could your coworkers do better to promote and just help each other. So we took these thousands and thousands of ideas, we streamlined it and sifted through it, and ended up with 7 different actions that we as ourselves and we as coworkers could do better to improve the experience as a company and improve the experience for our customers. So we came up with this One AVI program, and we meet weekly. We meet weekly for 9 weeks. We split up the company into 50 teams of 10. So this spans regions, this spans offices, this spans job roles. We meet every Monday and we meet every Thursday. So what we've done is we ordered everyone that didn't have them, including accounting people and some people that wouldn't normally have, you know, video capabilities. We ordered everyone cameras. We ordered everyone headsets, and we had specific times for people to sign up for. So each team signed up for a specific time, so we didn't have to worry about kind of bandwidth issues. And we meet over Skype for Business twice a week with about, you know, a total of about 500 people. So it's been this was our first week. So it's been, you know, I was expecting it to be kind of a huge disaster, and it wasn't. It was actually, we've gotten a ton of good feedback. So it's really cool, and the Battle of the Bands was just kind of like a kickoff for it. So it's kind of promote, you know, you can, you know, our days are so stressful, you know, we're all working over hours. We're all, you know, a bit curmudgeon-y, and we get crabby, and it's like sometimes taking a step back and working with your coworkers to have a little bit of fun, you know, is very necessary and much needed. So that's the whole idea around this program.
All right, so here's actually why I like having both of you on at this, because Kelly is a part of AVI Systems, a pretty good sized company, 15 locations. Greg is the opposite of that, and I'm saying that Cybertech is tiny, but you guys don't have 15 locations.
No,
right?
we're tiny.
Yeah, okay, so you're tiny. Right?
I'm employee number 11, but we've added a new person every month for the last 3 months.
Wow.
So you might not be tiny forever.
Exactly.
We're not going to be tiny forever. We were 2 people a year ago.
So here's what I want to get with this. As you guys grow and as you go out into the world, this is something that, at least I think that doing something like it doesn't have to be Microsoft Office, Skype for Business, but you know, keeping that sort of communication open, I think is absolutely huge. Greg, what do you guys do because Greg just finished up a pretty significant job. You were on site, so what do you guys do to stay in communication on a daily, weekly basis?
I'll carry laptops and iPhones.
Okay.
And it's you know a hoop that you have to jump through. Even at our size, we are the sister company to a furniture manufacturer. We're both owned by, or we're co-owned with a guy who owns a Technion furniture group, and they are down in Irvine, so they're about 15 miles away, which is, you know, a block is as good as a mile some days, it seems, you know, and we end up with people working out of that office or working with people in those offices fairly regularly. So, we're all wired, and we're all, very well versed in communicating with people, and across distances. We've also been doing a big project in a huge project up in San Francisco, which, the opportunity came up, and so we've had basically a couple people living up there in San Francisco for the last few months. Coming back on weekends and stuff like that. So yeah, we know the drill, even though we're much smaller.
Yeah. The one thing I would say, and this is from my days running the programming house. Not only is daily communication important, we actually used to do a call it a daily call. It was like 15 minutes. That's it. We used a conferencing system. Mainly because most of my employees were remote. To me, I'm based in St. Louis. We had programmers up and down in the Central Time Zone, but it was a commitment to not stay on for hours on hours. It was a touch point in the day for us to what's wrong, how can we fix it, let's move. Let's all kind of touch base once a day. The other thing is as a repository for information for how do we do things? Not only just regular processes, right? How to onboard an employee, but the programmers that I had were high-level programmers, right? I'm not an ACE certified AMX programmer or a platinum or diamond level now Crestron programmer. These folks were, right? So they've been in the business for 100 years. They've been doing this stuff. Wealth of knowledge these people had. So we started building a repository to start going over not only just simple, hey, you're going to run into this sort of situation sometime in your programming career, this is how to fix it, right? But also the one-offs, like, you've got, 15 classrooms and they all have to simultaneously, interact with each other. This is how we did that too. So,
right.
Daily touch points as well as, creating some sort of repository of knowledge, I think is absolutely huge because, you know what, folks are going to leave. And when they leave, that knowledge leaves with them. So communicating and expanding, it also gives you a great opportunity as you onboard new folks, and especially we were talking about with our editor Josh about getting new people in the industry. Kelly's a part of NSCA's Ignite. You get a brand new, a freshly minted, college graduate. How are you going to teach them? Right? You're going to have them run around and ride along for 3 years to glom off of every single technician they can get a hands on. Well, yeah, it's part of that. But the other thing is you've got this giant list of knowledge that is from your integrator that's been doing this for 30 years, right? You also have that as well. So.
Yeah, I think when it comes to that stuff, we've identified 3 different areas, that you can have everybody sit through all the Infocom classes and get your CTS and do this and that, and then you have the hands-on, and then you have manufacturers. But like you're saying, Tim, the toughest part is the tribal knowledge. It's that knowledge of I've been doing it for this company this long. I've been, I have this much experience. I understand the process. I understand this customer. It's all that tribal knowledge that is really hard to get into the minds of the new people, because you can't just write it down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and one thing we do have here is we have a tremendous amount of information that's kept on the shared drive, which is actually down at the furniture company, and all of our computers are tied into it, and all of our laptops can tie into it. So, I can be in my office here one day working on it, and yet I can pick up the laptop and go out in the field and find Wi-Fi or get my phone to do a hotspot, and boom, I can be tied into it too. So, yeah, it's not rocket science, but it brings to a large extent everybody into the same office to a certain extent.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go then on a nice Friday afternoon. Let you enjoy it. Mr. Greg Brown, thank you, sir. From Cyvatech. How do people find you?
You almost said UCLA, didn't you?
I almost said UCLA.
3.5 months and 1,000,000 miles ago. Let's see. It seems to be LinkedIn is where everybody finds me these days.
Okay, very good. Also with us is Miss Kelly Perkins from AVI Systems, also one of the hosts of our AV Social show. So thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, guys. It was awesome. It was good to see you, Greg and Tim. You can find me
Ditto.
on LinkedIn as well, Kelly P. Perkins, or AVI_Kelly on Twitter.
Yeah, and if you're watching the video, Kelly is actually going to get off this call and continue her Pokemon Go adventure.
No, she's out there enjoying her week of summer that they get there in Minneapolis.
Yes, that was
Yes, very much so.
Fall starts next week.
Says the guy from Southern California. All right. Actually, speaking of Pokemon Go, Josh Rago, our editor-in-chief, sends me this cryptic text message the other night. It says, "Hey, can you read something?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." And the first line was Pokemon Go, and I'm like, "You've got to freaking be kidding me! You did not write a Pokemon Go for AV blog post." Sure enough, he did, and it's darn good if I do say so myself. So check it out if you would, please. Josh's Pokemon Go blog post talks about AR, dives into it, and some really interesting insights and some really interesting possibilities he's laid out there. So my name is Tim Albright. Don't follow me, but go by the website if you would, please, AVNation.tv. AVNation.tv. You will find this program, a host of others. I mentioned Kelly's AV Social show. They're recording a new one in about 2 weeks, kind of going over and doing a post-op of Infocom. We also have a weekly residential show called ResiWeek, hosted by Matt Scott. That'll come up every Monday, posted typically on Wednesdays. Of course, this one typically posted on Mondays. All right, so AVNation.tv, AVNation.tv. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for watching. This has been AV Week.